I smell a roast.
Does it smell like candles burning?
A
Maybe
little.
8 or 9 candles?
A little. So to keep in the vein of our holiday tradition, as the big holidays approach us, we like to talk about them on the roast. We like to learn a little bit more about them. We like to learn some fun traditions that we might not have known about. And last year, we kind of lumped them all together around this time of year. And I didn't want to do that this year. I wanted to devote an entire roast to the holiday of Hanukkah because, honestly, I didn't know a lot about Hanukkah.
It's Hanukkah now.
It is Hanukkah right now. I thought it was the perfect time to do it. December 2nd through the 10th this year is Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah for all of those of you who celebrate. And I'm sure a lot of us know at least the general story of it. It's called the Celebration of Lights because in the 2nd century, the Greeks were oppressing the people of Israel. And Judah the Maccabee led a small group of people to push them back and defeated one of the largest armies in the world at that time. And they reclaimed the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. And when they went to light the lamp after, getting back to the temple, they realized they only had enough oil to last for about a day. And so they were like, okay, we're going to do it. And they lit it, and it lasted for 8 days and 8 nights, long enough for them to get more oil to keep the lamp lit in the Holy Temple, which was a miracle. And so to this day, Hanukkah celebrates that miracle, which is really cool. And it's celebrated worldwide and practiced by the Jewish faith.
That's such a cooler story than Christmas. I'm sorry.
It really is.
This is like Christmas, go fuck yourself. We warded off the biggest army with our smallest army, and our shit was supposed to die like a day ago, but we're on day 8, and this shit's still burning.
It's so much cooler.
Fuck you, Christmas.
And obviously, it's practiced by so many people worldwide. They light menorahs, they spin dreidels, eat that matzah, and they get, which I used to be jealous of in elementary school all the time, all of my Jewish friends, they get 8 days of presents. In fact, I had a friend who had the best of both worlds. His parents were divorced, and he had Christmas with one and Hanukkah with the other, so he got 9 days of presents. So
yeah, but his parents were divorced, so
yeah. You're right. It's like
it's a trade-off.
So I did a little digging, and I wanted to find some fun facts about this holiday that I didn't know a lot about. Because I want you guys to sound off in the comments if you do celebrate it. I'd love to hear some funny stories or some funny things about maybe some gifts you got. In fact, same friend, there was this story that he told us one year where he was younger, and because a lot of families, what they'll do is they'll give little gifts leading up to that last night.
And then the last night they get the
right.
good
and
gift.
One of the gifts he got was one night was a pack of pencils, and another night was a notepad. And it was so he could write a thank you note to his grandma and grandpa for the presents afterwards. So it's like they're baiting him for it, and I was like, oh, what a shitty present.
That's horrible.
Yeah. So if you have any funny stories like that,
What a way to make a kid hate Hanukkah.
feel free to drop them in the comments. I didn't know. I was looking online. I always thought that either it was different parts of the world were spelling it differently, or there was one specific way to spell it, and Americans were wrong. And that's not the case, because you've probably seen it Hanukkah with 2 N's, or Hanukkah with 1 N, or Hanukkah with the CH.
No, they were using different letters and a different alphabet, so this is just our lost in translation kind of situation.
It's just a lost in translation. Yeah. In fact, I found out that up to 5 years ago, on the internet, it was widely always printed with the CH. And only in the last 5 years has it changed to being printed with the H.
Weird.
It's super weird. Also, it's not the biggest holiday in the Jewish religion. Actually, in the Torah, Passover and Rosh Hashanah are both talked about, and Hanukkah is not, because a lot of the tradition of Hanukkah happened after those texts were written. So that importance actually came in the 20th century, thanks to America, and its incredibly, dependence on the Christmas season.
Yeah.
The leaders of the Jewish faith were like, well, we have a holiday. We can do something to kind of, create more awareness. So only in the 20th century did they create that awareness, and it became this global, widely celebrated holiday as we know it today, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Interesting.
And I also found out we now know that the dates change every year.
Yep.
And I was like, well, why is that?
I asked that the other day.
It's because it always falls on the same day from the Jewish calendar. It's the 25th day of their month of Kiev. Now, Their calendar is what is called a lunisolar calendar. The Gregorian calendar, the one that we all use, as the normal calendar, that's only based on the phases of the sun. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's why there's 365 days a year, and it's only based on the sun. The Jewish calendar is called a lunisolar calendar because it's based on the phases of the sun and the moon.
Interesting.
So any year can have anywhere between 353 days to 385 days. So that's why anywhere between late November and late December, Hanukkah can fall.
Okay.
And so this year, it's December 2nd through the 10th.
Now I know.
Yeah, pretty neat.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome. Obviously, the thing that's associated the most is the menorah. It's 8 candles and 1 helper candle called the shamish.
Did you know the original one had 7?
7, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one outside the Holy Temple.
Yeah.
And there actually is a replica of it now because that it was lost to antiquity. It was probably stolen and melted down for the gold that it was made out of.
Yeah, who knows?
But there is a replica out there now that you can visit, which is pretty neat. All in all, to light the menorah, you need 44 candles because you burn them all down, each night. So to, the first night through the 8th night, you need 44 candles to do them all. And they sell them scented now. So you can get vanilla candles, you can get pumpkin spice menorah candles, you can get...
Yeah. How did we miss that on Pumpkin Spice Day?
I know, right? When we roasted pumpkin spice, how did we miss the pumpkin spice menorah candle?
Damn it.
I don't know.
Next year.
So I found out, too, speaking of the menorah, this is nuts. This very year, the world's largest menorah was constructed right in Central Park in New York City, right near the Plaza Hotel, 32 feet high and 4,000 pounds. Here's a photo, actually, of it just the other day getting lit. Yeah, the largest menorah right in Central Park. The other thing about the holiday of Hanukkah is the food that is associated with it. Most of the food is cooked in oil to celebrate the oil from the lamps. So you get the latkes, the potato pancakes.
I do like latkes.
Me too. The kugel. Gelt, which is the chocolate coins.
I like to fuck around and call it gilt.
Gilt, yes. And my favorite, the sufganiyot, or the jelly donut.
Oh.
These are delicious. 17.5 million oily jelly donuts are consumed each year in Israel.
Wow.
It's incredible. And I did a little digging because I was like, did they invent the jelly donut? Like, where did that even come from? So I looked it up. The jelly donut was actually created in Germany in 1485. It was originally a much more savory treat because sugar was scarce. So they put jam in there, but they would also have like meats or mushrooms or like a much more savory kind of dough
so it's like
a meat pocket.
Yeah. That sounds good.
But it wasn't until later when sugar became widely available and not as expensive that they actually started making the sugary treat. And they've been called jelly donuts, I didn't know this, have been called Berliners in Germany forever.
Oh.
So if you're ever in Germany and you want a Berliner, it's a jelly donut.
I'm going to make that reference. Nobody knows it. I'm not going to tell them why.
In the late 1920s, the Israeli Labor Federation championed the jelly donut as a Hanukkah treat because it took more work to make, so they created jobs for the workforce to make the jelly donut.
A jelly donut simulated economy. Everything I've always wanted.
And then I had to type this in, too, to Google just to find out. There are no pictures, unfortunately, so I don't know how much credit I give to it, but I did find the newspaper article. The largest jelly donut ever made was made in 1993 right here in New York, in Utica. It was 1.7 tons and was 16 feet wide and 16 inches high. It is in the Guinness Book of World Records.
It sounds like a bellyache.
Yeah, it sounds like lots of belly aches.
Oh, man.
Woo!
I would eat that shit, though. I don't know.
I wonder what they did with it after, because I desperately tried to find a picture of it.
I mean, you have to eat it.
Yeah.
You can't not eat. It's going to go bad.
Yeah,
you got to eat it. They must have, cut it up and parceled it out.
Yeah, they must have.
Just jelly, sticky mess.
God,
just a horrible, sticky mess.
The worst. And then a couple more things about Hanukkah. The dreidel, which I found out, which I thought was really cool. It's that little top that they play with.
It's a game.
It's a game. It was actually a cover for students back in the day, because you weren't allowed, when the Greeks were around, you weren't allowed to study the Torah because they wanted you to practice Christianity.
So the dreidel was a way to study the Torah, but it was shown as like people thought it was a game, so they were able to get away with it and study the Torah at the same time.
Genius.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and it makes it fun for kids to want to learn about their religion, so it's a win-win all around, which is incredible. And then I also brought up the whole thing about gelt, which is that now it's the gold coins that are chocolate, and I love
like the
those.
cheapest, crappiest chocolate.
Yeah,
too.
but I still love it.
It's hard to.
I used to get those in my.
It's been
stocking
hard up
even.
to find like good quality chocolate gelt, but it's not really out there.
Right. The tradition. This is really the only tradition of giving presents for Hanukkah until the 20th century, when they started doing the much more sensationalized version that we have now. But the tradition was to give gelt as an incentive to learn the Torah. Now, that was back in the day for kids. If you're learning the Torah, you'd get gelt, and it was actual golden coins.
Ooh.
So you would get like a little bit of money during this holiday, and it would entice, obviously, kids to want to do it because kids you never had money when you're a kid,
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, I get to read the Torah a couple times and get a couple coins from Grandpa.
Eat a
Awesome.
couple jelly donuts.
Yeah, awesome.
Let's
I'm
get
in.
down.
And then finally, the thing about Hanukkah is it just is scarce in pop culture, in the references of pop culture. Honestly, thank you, Adam Sandler, for doing everything he's done.
Yeah.
The very funny and very famous Saturday Night Live skit where he did the Hanukkah song, which he's updated a couple times since then. But, I mean, that is one of the few songs around the season outside of Dreidel, Dreidel, Dreidel.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler also championed it in his animated movie, 8 Crazy Nights,
Right.
which was all from that. And it's really, really hard to find other pop culture references. There's a famous Rugrats episode, the Nickelodeon cartoon, where they did a Rugrats Hanukkah. There was a Friends episode where Ross was trying to explain Hanukkah to his son, and his son didn't want anything to do with it because there's no Santa Claus, so he dressed up as a big armadillo because Friends, there's just you'd think there would be more. You think there would be more about it. And there is Jewish pop culture out there. You think of Fievel or think of Fiddler on the Roof or that kind of thing, but I mean, like, it's
Fievel was Jewish?
Yes, Fievel Moskowitz, yo.
Whoa.
Oh man, did your mind just get blown? Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was
An American Tale?
Yeah, an American Tale, and it's a Jewish family trying to make it in old world America.
Oh.
Yeah, right?
Oy vey.
Oy vey. But yeah, so I implore Hollywood out there, get on it, make some Hanukkah. Why isn't there are so many movies. You said at the top of this roast, the origin story of Hanukkah is way more interesting than the origin story of Christmas, right? How many movies can you think of that show the origin of Christmas? The Three Kings coming and giving the gifts to baby Jesus, or even The Passion of the Christ, which deals with the entire life span of Jesus Christ. All of this stuff centered around the religious origin of Christmas. Why haven't we ever gotten, this plucky band of
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. It'll be a Michael Bay style, like 300 type movie where it's just a small army fighting
the Greeks.
Oh man, that would be so great. And then they finally get it, and they're all starving and like, oh my god, we only have oil for one day. We're totally not gonna make it. It keeps on burning it, dude. That would be a great fucking movie.
Get on it, Hollywood.
Michael Bay, get on that shit. Explosions.
Hashtag Hanukkah movie.
I want it. I'd watch that shit.
Yeah.
But like, don't like push it as a Hanukkah movie. Make it one of those things where people go to see it. It's like, oh, that was a great action movie, and then they find out later that it was like, oh, that's the story of Hanukkah, bitch. And you're like,
how great would it be if like there's so much surrounding Christmas, yet Hanukkah not only makes an incredible Hanukkah movie, but it's like a blockbuster action movie. Like,
it'd be awesome.
It
would be awesome.
It's right there. It's already written. All you got to do is make it, Hollywood. Get on it.